Shalom, Bruchim Habaim. Welcome to this video. Do you remember that I made a video a while ago where I said something slightly uncomfortable? Frequency lists do not deliver what they promise. Basically, they don't work. Yes, and I still stand by that. Now, at that time, I also talked a lot about exposure. Real exposure, repeated exposure. And I said that my weekly lessons fill the gap. Okay, well, that is nice teacher talk, but does she actually have data for what she's saying? You can bet your little tuchus I do. Now, I do. So, what I did is I stopped assuming and I started measuring. I tracked every single verb exposure over 6 months and asked a serious question. Did this simply expand your vocabulary? This is what we call lexical growth. Or did it actually reinforce conjugation patterns and root families? That is what I call architecture. That helps you build. And this is what builds fluency at the end. So get comfy, grab a coffee. I will now give you the data. So before I give you the data, you need to understand what is the material I analyzed. So I will explain to you for a moment in what are the weekly lessons, and then you understand what we tracked and how we came to these conclusions. Okay, so every Thursday, I sent you a real Israeli story, video and audio, adapted to 3 different levels. You receive vocabulary support, focused verb exercises, comprehension questions, and full answer keys. This is the consistency I'm helping you with. It is consistency that builds long-term fluency. Now, you watch, you listen, you read, you practice, and your Hebrew grows. So this material is what I used for this study to make this report. And during the whole time, I asked an important question. What actually happened structurally to students who stayed 6 months? In those 6 months, students were exposed to 618 verb occurrences. That means that 618 times you stumbled over a verb in those texts and audios. Among those, you had 318 different infinitives and 65 verbs appeared at least 3 times, some even 10 times. This is what we list in Appendix A. That is an important data because 3 times is not random and this is not accidental exposure. This is reinforcement. So you might be asking now, 65 verbs more than 3 times. Hey, cool, that sounds like a frequency list. Can I just learn those and elevate Hebrew instantly with them? No, cuties. You still need the context. This is actually one of the main things I said back in that other video, that just learning lists, your brain, it's not going to stick. Use it or lose it. Your brain is very efficient. Otherwise, it's not going to stick. And for most students, that is the problem. I do a lot, but it doesn't stick. Yeah, we are missing bridges, most probably. So, certain roots dominated the narrative structure. I'm explaining this now. I'm walking you through. So this is Appendix B of the report, which you can download, of course, from my website. All the links are in the description of the video, so no need to get nervous right now. Stay with me. So, for example, the root Resh Aleph Hey appeared 11 times. The root Nun Gimel Ein appeared 10 times, and the root Ein Bet appeared 8 times. So just an example, okay? So students were being exposed repeatedly in those 6 months to verbs of perception, contact and approach, movement and transition, speech, and existence. And this is what you need to build the narrative architecture, not just vocabulary. You know, you want to use it. And these are the verbs that you need to actually talk. You might be asking now, okay, these are the roots, but which are the verbs? These we listed in Appendix C. So we are very transparent in this report. I'm not hiding anything. Somebody in the team said, yeah, but Ruth, aren't we now just giving the students all the lists, what is actually a frequency list? Yes and no. It depends on how you look at it. I don't see it as frequency lists, how students understand it, like, oh, I will learn those, and these are those that are mostly appear in the language. Yes, but we are still missing the point. We need the connectors. And these are the stories and the audio to make it stick. It's not about a lot of material. You have to make it stick. So, was I wrong about frequency lists? No, still tell you they do not work without context. So frequency lists can absolutely work, and this is the conclusion we had in our team meeting, inside a structured narrative system. So that means repetition happens naturally, roots connect, patterns reinforce each other, and binyanim stop being abstract theory. By the way, in the verb course, we don't teach you only the verbs and the connectors. We also use a lot of sentences and vocabulary to make it stick. This is here the main goal, make it stick. So this here is architectural exposure. That means this helps you build your language. And architectural exposure, as I said in the beginning, this is what leads you to fluency. Now, students who stayed for 6 months or longer, they did not memorize lists, they built structure. They did not jump between unrelated verbs, they reinforced patterns. They did not study grammar in isolation. They saw how roots move across patterns. And the final big finding is they got a balanced, hold on, type token ratio. What? A what? Sorry, what? Okay, that is a special term from well, people who study linguistics. They know this. Let me explain it to you. It's very easy, actually. So the type token ratio is when we look at the 6 months, you encountered verbs 618 times. I said that. That means 618 tokens. A token is a moment of exposure, so to speak. And you saw 338 different verbs. These are types. And then come to 0.55, which tells you how diverse that exposure was. And that means here that it is a very balanced distribution of diversity and repetition. So it's neither a mechanical drill nor uncontrolled vocabulary expansion. That means that you equally expand your knowledge with new verbs, but at the same time you reinforce. So 0.55, that means you have slightly more diversity than reinforcement. If it was 0.5, it would be, 50-50. So this is what I now proved, what is happening in the weekly lessons, in the weekly exposure, and what is happening in 6 months if you do it every week. But you do not have to do it till the end every time. When the week is over, You can switch to the next lesson to make sure you're not getting bored and frustrated with one. But as I said, we are giving it to you in 3 different levels. So you can also work your way up, but it's also good to not try to understand every little thing before you move on to the next lesson, because you want to stay entertained. And with different stories, you also stay more motivated. Okay, sweeties, this is the end. I'm super excited about these findings. I'm a science girl. I want data. I've I've managed to get the data, and I'm leaving you in the description below the links that you need where you can download the report. And yeah, let me know what you think, and I hope I see you in the next video. Shalom.